Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Whitney is off tonight. After a beautiful Memorial Day, we are trading in sun for a chance of thunderstorms. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Goose tracking everything we need to know. Jeremy?
Well, when it comes to our overall weather pattern, we don't have enough for widespread thunderstorms, but maybe a couple of claps of thunder. Reason being, we have an incoming cold front. That cold front is already starting to drop temperatures in some locations. We've dropped 4 degrees in just the past hour here. Let's just take a look at some of those temperatures across the region. You can see where that stark line is. The temperatures back behind the frontal boundary have plummeted quite nicely, and for us, that frontal boundary is making its way into central parts of the state. So once that cold air starts funneling in, that's when we're going to see the big drop. We're seeing a few of those thunderstorms, most of those down to our south. We saw a little cell up near Medellin move across the border and now start to weaken. Down south of that, you get up into the Blue Mountains, tons of activity. As you move into Lewiston, you're seeing a little bit of it, and I think most of this is just going to regather itself in Shoshone County. It's kind of that pattern. You can see it happening later on this evening, continuing overnight and then eventually moving out early tomorrow morning. While tomorrow morning starts out sunny once again, we'll see more scattered afternoon showers and storms tomorrow. I think our storms are once again not that prevalent, but possible. And once again, all of that moves out as soon as the sun goes down and we head into a much cooler day on Thursday. Well, about where we are tomorrow, but a much cooler morning nonetheless. 62 degrees tomorrow afternoon. It gets a bit breezy with a few of those scattered showers. 65 Thursday afternoon, 71 by Friday, but each one of those mornings, Thursday, Friday, we are headed into a chilly start to the day.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. I'll check back in with you later in the show. And just in our newsroom, within the last couple of hours, an inmate accidentally released from the Idaho Department of Corrections has been arrested in western Washington. This comes 8 days after his initial release. Daniel Billingsley was being taken to Kootenai County to face local charges. And according to the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office, the exact reason for his relief is still under investigation. In other top stories tonight, a 17-year-old is charged with 2 counts of vehicular assault, among other charges. This after deputies say he and another driver collided in a neighborhood near North Kalispell Street and West Lyons. According to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, both drivers were speeding recklessly when they crashed. The other driver blew through a stop sign. After the crash, the teen driver ran away but was quickly found by a canine officer. That's when deputies learned his car belonged to someone else who says they did not give him permission to use it. The other driver was treated for minor injuries at the scene. The teen was booked into the Spokane County Jail. Chad Daybell's murder trial continued today. He's accused of murder and conspiracy in the deaths of his late wife, Tammy Daybell, and his current wife's 2 children, JJ and Ty Lee. The defense rested its case last week, and today the prosecution took over, calling a few rebuttal witnesses, including a detective who spoke on autopsy results. After JJ's grandfather spoke outside the courthouse on what a relief an end to this chapter will be.
Gonna miss this beautiful town, but it's time to move on. It's time to move on to the next phase of our life.
Closing arguments are set to begin tomorrow morning. A climber near Beverly had to be rescued after a major fall last night. According to the Grant County Sheriff's Office, the man fell between 50 and 90 feet. Deputies aren't sure how long he was at the bottom of that cliff before Royal Slope fire rescue crews showed up. The climber was airlifted to a trauma center, and tonight his condition is still unknown. New video of an overturned semi-truck being flipped back over on I-90 near Cheney today. The rolled over semi was on its side and bags of soil spilled across the road. Washington State Patrol said there were no injuries in the crash and the road is back open tonight. This week, Boeing is expected to present assembly line quality control fixes to the FAA. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says Boeing will have to do more to show it can make the necessary safety changes.
That's why Boeing is under a huge amount of scrutiny right now, including from the FAA. The administrator took the extraordinary step of saying that Boeing cannot increase their production until they've demonstrated that they can do it safely.
The FAA ordered the plane in late February after a door plug blew out on a 737 MAX mid-flight. The agency found multiple allegations of the company failing to comply with manufacturing quality control requirements. Summer is closing in. That usually means cherry and peach season, but this year's off to a rough start for local growers of both. KREM 2's Cody Proctor brings us more from Green Bluff tonight.
For everything, there is a season, but for fans of Green Bluff peaches and cherries, this might not be the season. Green Bluff farmer Derek Hansen knows a thing or two about cherries. He and his dad planted the first cherry tree at Hansen's Green Bluff orchard north of Spokane nearly 40 years ago.
That was probably a 3-foot whip. Most of them, when we get started, you know, they're 2-year-old trees. Take some cherries. It takes about 5 or 6 years to really get them producing.
Yeah.
Unlike this year.
The reason Hansen's laughing is because his cherry crop this year is lacking, to say the least.
Got probably enough cherries for the birds if we're lucky, and we didn't even have a single peach blossom on any of our trees. In fact, a lot of our trees actually died.
This year's been a tough season for his cherries and peaches, and he's not the only one on the bluff seeing it. So what's to blame? Hansen says the extreme drop in temperatures we experienced back in January did a number on his trees, with temperatures diving into the sub-zero realm.
Peaches, if we hit about 25 below zero, it'll just kill the tree dead. You know, they are not a winter hardy crop. And cherries are a tough tree. It's not going to kill them. However, they are very cold sensitive. And that's why we're right at the edge of cherry country, too.
Speaking of cherry country, elsewhere in the Northwest could see a better season this year compared to the last few years. According to the organization Northwest Cherry Growers in Yakima, they're forecasting the Pacific Northwest could yield somewhere between 17 million to 19 million 20-pound boxes for this year's crop of cherries. As for Hansen, he says they'll focus on their other crops to pick up the slack.
One of the best things about farming is there's always next year.
But taking a look ahead, not everything is a loss. Even though cherries and peaches are looking to have a tough time in the Green Bluff area, Hansen says his apples might actually come out okay this season. In Green Bluff, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.